When Wicked hit theaters in 2024, no one, not even Universal, not even Jon M. Chu, fully grasped just how big of a monster the green-tinted musical would become. The first half of the two-part adaptation of the beloved Broadway show didn't just perform well, it detonated the box office, shattered musical film expectations, and reignited the world's obsession with Oz. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande became the faces of a cultural tidal wave, and suddenly the long-planned sequel, Wicked, for Good, wasn't just a follow-up. It was an event, a responsibility, a promise fans demanded be delivered flawlessly. Now, as the second film approaches its final stretch of production, the creative team is opening up about the changes, tweaks, and outright overhauls they made after witnessing the first film's phenomenon. And director Jon M. Chu didn't mince his words. After seeing how audiences reacted, I told the team, we don't need any of that anymore. Cut it, simplify it, focus on what they loved. What exactly was cut? What evolved? What became bigger, bolder, or more emotional? The answer, it turns out, is a lot. A success so big, it reshaped the sequel. Before the first film's release, Wicked, for Good was already deep in production. Sets were built, songs were being polished, and post-production teams were testing VFX for some of the most ambitious sequences in the Oz universe. But then came the first weekend box office. Wicked opened like a superhero movie. It outperformed every projection, dominated social media, spiked soundtrack streaming numbers, and inspired a new generation of fans who weren't even born when Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth first sang, Defying Gravity. Suddenly, Chu and his team had a real-time blueprint of what resonated most. People responded to the emotional core, Chu said. They cared about Elphaba, they cared about Glinda, they cared about the friendship more than the spectacle. So if something didn't serve that bond, it had to go. The director's blunt note, strip out the noise. Insiders say the directive came during a post-premiere creative meeting with producers, songwriters, and editors. According to one team member, Chu walked into the room energized, holding a stack of revisions. He just said, we don't need any of that. Audiences don't want filler. They want heart. They want payoff, the insider shared. Scenes that were originally designed to world build, political plotlines, extended council debates in the Emerald City, and a multi-scene subplot involving underground resistance groups, were dramatically shortened or cut entirely. It's not that the scenes weren't good, Chu explained. They just weren't the story. The musical numbers, bigger, richer, but more focused. Perhaps the most dramatic changes came in the musical sequences, which fans consider sacred territory. 1. For Good, gets a makeover. The emotional backbone of the entire franchise, the duet between Elphaba and Glinda, was originally shot more intimately, almost like a quiet goodbye. But after seeing how fans reacted to the visual splendor of Defying Gravity, and the emotional explosiveness of I'm Not That Girl reprise, Chu knew the final duet needed to feel monumental. We realized that Wicked fans want to cry, but they also want to feel awe, Chu said. So we expanded the number. More visuals, more emotion, more magic. Sources say the new version involves a spellbinding atmospheric transformation around the two witches, an evolution from the stage version meant to reflect how the world shifts as they choose their paths. 2. No Good Deed, strengthened. After Cynthia Erivo's powerhouse performance of the first film's climactic songs went viral, the creative team enhanced her Act 2 emotional peak. With stronger orchestration, added vocal layers, and VFX sequences that more vividly showcase Elphaba's internal collapse. One insider called it an emotional earthquake. 3. Glinda gets a new mini-song. Because Ariana Grande's comedic timing and emotional vulnerability became breakout highlights in Part 1, a short transitional song, half humorous, half heartbreaking, was written specifically to expand her post-Elphaba arc. It won't replace any beloved number, but it gives her character more connective tissue during the story's darkest section. Character arcs sharpened after fan feedback. Elphaba. More depth, more agency. Fans praised the first film for not diluting Elphaba's complexity. As a result, Chu doubled down. We pushed even harder into her moral struggle, he revealed. She's not a victim of fate, she's wrestling with impossible choices. Expect more scenes showing Elphaba's internal conflict as she's forced to become the legend and villain the world wants her to be. Glinda. Less fluff, more sensitivity. Ariana's Glinda was a breakout not just for the charm but for the tenderness beneath the theatrics. Once we saw how deeply people connected with Ariana's vulnerable moments, we realized we didn't need some of the more comedic detours, Chu explained. A few sequences of Glinda performing overly theatrical political bits, originally meant to mirror stage satire, were removed. She didn't need slapstick, a producer said. Her heart is the story. Romance tweaked to match the chemistry that broke the internet. One of the most surprising outcomes from the first film was the viral obsession with the chemistry between Erivo and Grande. Their dynamic overshadowed the traditional romantic subplot with Fiyero. Rather than fight that, the sequel leaned into the emotional intimacy between Elphaba and Glinda, without altering the canon romance, but emphasizing the emotional stakes between the two women. People didn't just ship Fiyero, a story editor explained. They shipped the friendship. The love triangle remains, but it's now less melodramatic and more grounded in real emotional conflict. Massive Oz-wide sequences revised to prioritize emotion. The original plan for Wicked, for Good included expansive action-heavy set pieces, larger mobs, more CGI creatures, grander political battles. But after the first movie's reception, Chu realized spectacle didn't need more spectacle. What hit people wasn't the flashy stuff, he said. It was the feeling behind it. As a result, the Emerald City War sequence was trimmed to emphasize character decisions over chaos. The Wizard's final scenes were rewritten to feel more personal and less theatrical. Morable's arc was tightened to amplify her psychological grip on Glinda and the System of Oz. It's darker, one insider admitted. But in a way that feels more truthful. The ending. Same story, bigger emotional punch. Without revealing spoilers, the director confirmed that the ending remains faithful to the Broadway show, but the emotional execution has changed. We didn't rewrite what happens, Chu clarified. We rewrote how we take the audience there. Expect a slower, more intimate build-up. Extended moments between the witches. A new symbolic visual motif involving green light. A tone that balances heartbreak with hope. One insider described the new cut as devastating, healing, and goosebump-inducing all at once. Why the team became fearless after the first film. The success of Part 1 didn't just change creative decisions, it changed the creative mindset. We suddenly felt permission to trust the material fully, Chu said. We realized we didn't need to over-explain anything. People got it, they felt it, so we cut anything that felt like it was trying too hard. In other words, confidence became a creative weapon. Final thoughts. A fan-led transformation. Wicked. For Good is no longer simply the second half of a film. It's a response to a cultural phenomenon. We listened, Chu insisted. The fans guided this. They told us what mattered. With higher stakes, deeper emotion, tighter storytelling, and a fearless commitment to the central relationship, the sequel aims to deliver what the fans wanted most, a payoff worthy of the world's greatest witches.